Welcome to the Chris and Ryan Credo Report. I'm Chris. That's Ryan.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, huh?
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff.
Olympic-sized crazy stuff.
Oh.
Hey, we're going to talk about the Olympics.
There you go.
And not just one aspect of it. But I think I'm going to catch you off guard right now. I'm throwing you a deep question. So you ready?
I'm ready.
If you had to compete in the Olympics, what would be your thing?
Well, you know what I would want to do instead of competing.
Oh,
instead of actually competing.
Okay.
I saw a video of this guy that one of the swimmers had lost their cap or something, their swimming cap in the pool, and just this rando guy, like it's his job, like this random guy in a Speedo comes out of nowhere, just like he's just some Joe Schmo, right?
Yeah.
But it's his job for the Olympics that he comes out, and like everybody cheers him, and he kind of waves, and he jumps in the pool and gets the cap out.
You want to be that guy? It's kind of like the ball boy at tennis.
Right, but this is
like swimming cap guy.
Cap dude.
So you want to be that? I would have guessed taco eating.
Taco eating.
Is that a competition?
You know,
taco making. I've been to your house. You could be a taco maker.
We do make some good tacos in my house.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a sport, but I feel like why not?
You know, I read somewhere that they're about to start doing. They want to add cornhole to the Olympics.
I mean, you got to have a summer equivalent of curling.
That would be cornhole.
Yeah.
So I could be that. You know, you know what the problem is? All those, because there are professional cornhole leagues, and I've watched a couple.
Okay. Yeah.
And all of those guys are wearing Crocs. I don't know if I could wear Crocs.
Yeah, that is a disqualifier.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it.
Yes. All right.
So
speaking of Crocs, I have a reptile that's going nuts over there. I'm going to go relieve her of her habitat.
Yeah. And when you come back, you have to tell me if you can name the colors of the rings on the Olympic logo.
See, here's what interrupted our show. Enough of the 5 colors of the rings.
Yes.
I'm going to go yellow, blue, red, green, black.
I don't know. I was just wondering if you knew. I was going to go with whatever you said. I know that there's red and yellow and black, and that's all I know.
Oh, I know that there's green.
Is there?
Yeah.
So
you got to be excited. Stryper's releasing a new album like this Friday. Like before this show released, like
I thought it was September. Is it? Is it?
Is it?
I don't know.
Maybe it is September.
But I've been paying attention.
I don't know. Maybe it is September. I thought. Yeah. Oh yeah, Skillet's releasing a song this Friday.
Okay.
Stryper's releasing an album.
They're going to do a 40th anniversary tour. Let's put that in. Let's stop for just a second and go, wow. They're doing a 40th anniversary tour.
I have a 50th anniversary tour of Petra that I went to on my 50th birthday. They've been touring as long as I've been alive.
Technically, they've been touring longer than you've been alive.
That's true. They actually started in 72.
Yeah.
And I was born in 73. But anyways.
Yeah. So anyways. I don't know what that has to do with the Olympics. You know what? Multinational.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
So the Olympics.
Right.
There's a fair amount of stuff going on with the Olympics.
There has been crazy stuff. Everything, like we've got the whole boxing thing. You got the opening ceremony thing. You've got the riots in the streets. You got protesters. You've got probably other stuff.
Oh, have you heard about the meals?
No. Oh, I did. The only thing I heard was that like by day 3 they ran out of meat.
It's not so much they ran out of meat. It's because they're trying to make it the greenest Olympics ever. They're only serving meat in small quantities and not for every meal. So you've got these people from all over the world that their bodies are conditioned to eat animal proteins pretty regularly.
I mean, these are top athletes. That's probably what they're
So
doing.
They're not getting it now, so they're concerned about performance. I saw one thing where
If they bring cornhole in, they're not gonna stand it.
they better have some barbecue.
They better have barbecue. You're like, you can't. Can you even do cornhole if there's not a grill behind you smoking?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I've personally never seen it happen.
No, I don't even.
And it doesn't have to be good barbecue. It could just be it should be cookout food. Like it could be just hamburgers and hot dogs, but there's got to be a grill
there's gotta
somewhere.
be something. I mean, so
but
that's
yeah,
funny.
so it's all crazy.
The greenest Olympics possible.
Yeah.
So one of them rings better be green.
Well, also I had read somewhere that they weren't going to do. They didn't put air conditioning in the rooms.
What?
Yeah, and it gets hot in France in August.
I was gonna say it's hot. They can't. Yeah. What?
Yeah, because then it wouldn't be green. It's all agenda focused, right?
Yeah.
Why does it do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it does it whenever the air conditioner goes on or off.
Oh, well, there you go.
Pulls a lot of draw in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, they're not doing, and the beds are made out of cardboard.
Wait, is that for real?
Yeah.
I did not hear any of this stuff. Like they brought over the top elite people and said, "Here, sleep on a cardboard bed. We ain't feeding you any meat." And also air conditioning.
Yeah, there's
Do
pictures.
they have to stay in Olympic Village, or can they just go get a hotel?
No, there's been some. I wish I could remember because I read all kinds of news.
Yeah,
I can't remember what delegation it is, but one of the delegations went and got their own hotel.
yeah. I mean, I would.
So, but yeah, so the Olympics, it's all this craziness happening. Like, the box, you brought up the boxing thing or the boxer. There's two of them.
Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah, both with the same thing.
Right. So it's interesting how that blew up.
Yeah. Now there's a big lesson for Christians to learn in that.
Right.
Well, not even just Christians, like everybody
Yeah.
to learn, which is like before you jump on the bandwagon of totally trashing people, take time to learn the entire story.
Right. And as for the most part, that's what we do on the show is sometimes we'll cover something, but we wait a couple of weeks and it looks like we're a little behind the ball, but we do that on purpose.
Yeah. The only one that kind of backfired on was the pole dancing in the conference, because then like right when we recorded it, it was like immediately days after a whole bunch of other stuff came out about it.
Yeah. Well, and even with that one, it didn't change my opinion.
And it wasn't stuff to change what happened. It was just responses other people made.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, as a rule, we kind of wait it out.
Yeah.
And we'd rather be a little behind the ball.
Yeah. So here's a quick recap. If you don't know what we're talking about with the boxing story, which you probably do, but I'll try to be as quick as possible. Two women get into the boxing ring to fight. In 47 seconds, one of them has to quit because she's never been hit that hard by
She's been
someone.
getting rattled.
She's just getting her butt kicked.
Right.
Right. So, and the person throwing the punches has a fairly manly appearance.
Right.
And immediately people took pictures of what was going on and posted that the Olympics allowed a transgender man to come in and just beat this woman to death.
Right.
Protect our women, don't do this, blah, blah, blah.
And for the record, we are going to say protect our women.
Yeah, I'm for that. I don't think that men should compete in women's sport. I don't think that a man who believes he's a woman should compete in a woman's sport.
Exactly.
Because they're still a man.
Especially something as physical as boxing.
Especially because it's just dangerous.
Right.
Now, what happened is so many people jumped on that and started slamming it and going at this, but they didn't realize this person was not a trans. This person was born female. Or at least let's just say, in every way looking at this person, you would have assumed this is a female.
Right. Birth certificate says female.
Right. Born as a girl with, we'll just say girl parts.
There you go. I'm comfortable with that.
And so then people are like, whoa, now everybody owes this girl an apology because you have really offended someone. But then it comes out later on that, well, one of the reasons that this person has been disqualified from boxing with other women in the past is because there is a test that they have to do to determine whether or not you are male or female, which I didn't know that they were testing that up until just recently.
Yeah, they're testing
Because
on the
I thought-
chromosomal level.
Yeah, they were testing on chromosome. Like I thought before, it was just like you could just say because nobody was being weird like they are now. But anyways, so on the chromosomal level, this person came out to have XY chromosomes.
Right.
Now, then people are like, oh, we're back to it's a transgender again. Except for the fact that no, wait, it's not. It turns out this person was born with a genetic mutation. They born with a problem where there are actually women who have gone their whole lives with this and never known it because they never got their chromosomes tested.
Because who says,
I feel like I have a
feel
Y.
like my chromosomes need to be looked at.
Yeah. And so basically what happens is because she has a Y in her chromosomes, she's getting more testosterone than the average woman would, making her... Now, they say having the extra Y makes you a little bit more muscular, makes you a little more leaner, makes you a little more faster. Now, I haven't noticed... I have a Y chromosome, and I haven't noticed it making me any leaner.
Or necessarily faster.
Definitely not faster. But anyways, apparently for women, that's what it does. It makes them leaner, faster, stronger, and all this stuff. And as evidenced by these two women in this boxing ring, they're doing this. So then the question comes, well, is it fair? Because if a woman juiced on steroids,
Right.
they would basically be injecting themselves with testosterone and some other things to give them an unfair advantage. She's got those same kind of levels, but it's occurring naturally in her the way she was born.
Yeah, her body's making it.
Yeah. Is it still fair? And here, I think we're stepping outside of some morality questions. This is not first of all, the morality issue here is Christians jumping on this and tearing apart a poor woman who was just born this way, literally born this way. This is actually a case of someone born this way.
Yeah.
And
There's physiological, provable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just tearing her apart. And the truth is, she grew up as a girl and probably noticed that she's stronger and more athletic than most other girls. And boxing is a great sport for her to be in because she's going to excel at it. You know, and so I don't know that it's as much of a moral question as it is one for the leadership to answer, to say, what do they want to rule on, to say what's allowable, like in terms of hormone levels. But we don't make these same kind of distinguishes like, the Florida Gators just recruited onto their basketball team this like 18-year-old kid who's 7'7".
It's enormous.
He was 7 foot. He was like 7'5" when he was in like the 8th grade playing middle school basketball. Did he have an unfair advantage because he was born that way? Yes. All the other middle school kids came up to his shorts. Like,
But the question is if you're born that way, there's nothing, there's no pharmaceutical anything, there's no surgical anything.
right.
Is it an unfair advantage or is it just an advantage?
My thing is it's an unfair advantage, but it's a natural unfair advantage. You know?
I would say thereby making it just an advantage, not fair, not unfair.
We
just an
rate
advantage.
some athletes are that good because of training, but I would venture to say almost all of them are that good because of training and some sort of predisposition,
Right.
genetical predisposition. I'm from German stock. I had heavy set parents, and we excel at couch potatoing, and I just don't know that with an Olympic sized amount of training in my life, I think I could be in good shape. I could do stuff. I don't think I could ever be Olympic level.
When I was younger, I played baseball, right?
Yeah.
And I did really well, right?
Yeah.
But
But you don't have to be an athlete to play
I
baseball.
would never, I'll fight you for that. I would never reach Olympic or professional or even semi-professional. I would never reach that level because although I was pretty good, I was, average-ish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Average doesn't make you professional. It doesn't make you Olympic. So, I struggle with this unfair advantage. I don't know. Maybe do we want to? The question is do we want to chromosomally check every Olympic athlete and to decide whether or not they should be in the Olympics?
No, to me, the only thing we need to do is find out if they were ever transed. I don't think men should compete with women.
Agreed.
Outside of that, if you're born with something and it gives you a slight advantage, I mean, like, Michael Phelps is double jointed. Does that give him an advantage in swimming? I don't know. I think it does. But nobody's going to say anything about that.
Right. There are certain
Honestly, if it hadn't have been for the trans stuff happening, I don't think this would be a controversy.
No.
I don't think anyone would have thought anything about it. It shows, though, how much we are affected by this whole controversy of trans men competing in women's sports.
It's also evidence how reactionary we can be.
Yes. That's the big lesson.
Because it just blew up. Mm-hmm. I mean, even now, I've seen a couple of times where the other boxers, the women boxers, they're holding up an X to prove, saying that no, I'm XX.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Trying to figure out a why. Sorry.
In sign language, it's Y.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, like what happens is I think that especially this woman from Algeria, because she's the one that beat the other woman in 46 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens is she's kind of been victimized through this.
Right.
And the athletes going and doing this, she's being re-victimized. Look, we've proven it. It was okay. Let's move on. So
the big thing for Christians to take away from this is like, don't immediately jump on a bandwagon and judge until you actually know what's going on. And I do know some pretty respectable high up Christian influencers that did jump on that pretty early and had to issue retractions and apologies. Right. Now, that's what I appreciate. So, like I say, we need to research it. Someone might be like, well, I don't have access to the doctor records on this. If it appeared that way and everyone else is saying it, how am I supposed to know? And I say, well, sometimes mistakes will be made. But be big enough that if you posted anything about it, be big enough to post a retraction and an apology.
Yeah.
Because we were wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that the world needs to see us being able to say, hey, we did make a mistake. And that woman, I don't know anything about her, but I do feel bad because I feel like she has received so much hate, the press about her. I hope that she just is sitting in Olympic Village, not looking at any news and reading any press or anything.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible.
Yeah. So, and then there was the opening ceremonies thing.
Well, yeah, that was horrible. And then, so everyone knows they made fun of the Last Supper, which honestly, they're making fun of Rembrandt's version of the Last Supper, which is still a jab at Christianity. But then Paris issued the weakest apology I've ever heard, where they basically said, hey, we were just trying to make something that brought people together, which we think we accomplished, which no, you didn't. You alienate. But anyways, they said, which we think we accomplished. And if anyone was hurt by it, that wasn't our intent. So we're sorry that you got your feelings hurt, which is like, sorry, not sorry.
Right. And it can be argued, and, I am whatever, right? It can be argued that wasn't a depiction of the Last Supper. It was a depiction of the Feast of Dionysus. Right,
which is a very, very weak argument because the people that were in it said it was supposed to be of the Last Supper.
but so for me though, what's funny is they were like, well, don't be outraged.
Yeah,
we weren't mocking the Last Supper. It was actually the Feast of Dionysus. If that's the Feast of Dionysus, as Christians, we should be outraged by that too.
Right. That's the thing. Okay, great. We just took place in something worshiping a false god.
I feel like this whole...
There's no way it goes well.
No, so I feel like is it just me, or is this Olympics just weird?
Oh, it's got to be intentional. There's no way that there's this much weirdness going on without like, how about the blue guy in the opening ceremonies that's like 98.9% naked with like little girls around him.
Yeah, it was all just so strange. And I didn't watch the opening ceremony.
I didn't either. I saw clips when everybody was like flipping out about it.
Yeah.
I don't watch the Olympics. I have no interest in them, but that's not new to this year. I've never had an interest in the Olympics.
See, I grew up watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
Back when, ABC did nothing but show the Olympics 24 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
For the 2 weeks.
I hated that. It preempted good TV.
But this is back when
Dukes of Hazzard.
that's also I don't know Dukes of Hazzard. Anyway,
Just kidding.
but that was back when it was 2 weeks, and it was both Winter and Summer Olympics together at the same time. So it was literally 24 hours a day for 14 days. That's all. You never knew. I remember staying up late to see the ski jump or diving competitions or whatever.
Yeah.
So all of that. But that's changed now, as we get Olympics every 2 years. And one cycle is the winter, one cycle is the summer. So this is obviously the summer, doing all of the summer things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just another controversy I didn't know until this morning when I was reading the news. Apparently, Simone
Biles.
I want to make sure I was saying her name correctly, is beefing with a former American Olympian. And the former American, I can't remember her name, she said something like Simone is everybody agrees that Simone is the GOAT, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's got more medals, done everything. Like,
yeah. So
she's like this generation's Mary Lou Retton. Oh,
Retina's in your eye.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I guess they're beefing because she said Simone is great, acknowledged her, called her the GOAT or something. But she's like, but the rest of them, they don't work as hard, they don't try as hard. And I don't know what she was trying to say because she's like, I'm miscommunicating. That's not what I'm trying to say. But she basically eviscerated the whole team, saying that the team that she was on, because she's an American Olympian as well, she was saying that the team that she was on when she competed was so much better and they worked harder and all these things.
She's got to be a Gen Xer.
And
that's their view of everybody.
And I know this.
I'm a Gen Xer.
But it's gotten so out of hand that like all of Simone's followers and stuff are now attacking her online and like sending her DMs and threatening to kill her or her family and like all of this other kinds.
Well, she didn't say that about Simone.
You're right, but
protect their team.
Right. So,
well, I don't know. Is it true? Is their team lazy?
Well, I mean, they've gotten a bunch of medals, so
I don't know. I do not. It's hard for me to think because, like, there's that same prevalent attitude towards like the workplace.
Yeah.
Where especially like older workers look at the younger workers as like the laziest workforce that's ever been made.
But you know what?
Is that what they're thinking about the Olympics?
When you look at the different generations, the traditionalists, which are the generation before boomers.
Oh, I thought they were the silent generation.
It's the same thing. Some call them traditionalists, some call them silent. But they looked at us as Gen X as we were lazy and good for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
even older boomers did. I think there's always, when the older generations are always going to call that. I think that's just part of the deal. I don't think it should be that way.
As we get older, we just translate into these things.
Right.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. But I mean,
no one says that when they're young because they don't have lawns.
Well, yeah. But here's my thing with this though, is they may not work as many hours, but I'll tell you what, you don't get to the Olympics by being a schlep.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't win gold medals or silver medals or even bronze medals by being lazy and
not putting in the work.
Right. So it was a foolish thing to say.
Yeah.
And I will.
At least it was a former Olympian saying it. Like, can you imagine if
like you?
Yeah, like me. I'm sitting on my couch with my bag of chips. Like, that's the laziest team ever.
Sit there with your Doritos and sweet tea. You could work harder.
Yeah. Could somebody give me another ho-ho? No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
but I mean, at least there was a limit. But yeah, no, don't do that. We don't need to judge, especially stuff like that. And it's not even something that mattered to her. I mean, obviously it did matter to her on some level, but I mean, it's not her team. It's not her people. She's not responsible for them. Why is she coming out and insulting them?
I don't know what the whole point was in saying it. And she says that she communicated poorly and she's apologized and retracted her statement or whatever. I don't know exactly what it was, but I mean, and we're talking about this woman it wasn't long ago. It was like the 2016 Olympics or something that she competed. So that's only 2
So
cycles.
Simone Biles was still on her team back then, wasn't she?
Yes. And she talks about how great Simone is.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I think everything surrounding these Olympics are just weird.
Maybe she feels like Simone's carrying that team. She's strong enough to.
I mean, maybe she is, but you know what? I'll go back to they still made the Olympic
Yeah, they made
team.
it there. I've seen the videos of the people that didn't make it.
And they're still way better than any of us.
Yeah. So I don't know. So here's the Christian principle for you there. Just don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Like, that's not any of her business. Like, she's not on that team. She's not their coach. She's not their parents.
And this woman's judging? Married, has a baby.
Yeah.
How about just worried about your family, man?
And is she attending their practice sessions? Like, has she seen them doing their workouts? Like, I don't know. That seems pretty crazy. Like, so as Christians, like, let's not. Now, we can hold people within our Christian family and our church, or, we can look at them, and there is scriptural precedence of judging each other's walk, but not to come out and attack it, but to spur one another on to love and good deeds, right? We should be encouraging. Let me just tell you that coming out and saying you're the weakest and laziest bunch of Christians I ever seen in my church, like, that's not spurring one another on to love and good deeds.
Right.
Right. And so the Christian principle there is everything should be done in love. And also, if it's not your business, it's not your business.
Yeah. So speaking of Christian principles.
Okay.
So this is season 3, episode 4.
It is.
So it seems like this season has a theme, and it's should Christians.
Should Christians. Yeah.
So we were talking about this when we were preparing, and we realized that we're going to fall into that should Christians. Yeah. So here's the question that you proposed to me when before we were doing today's show prep, like when we were even talking about what are we going to cover.
Yeah.
You gave the question of should Christians watch the Olympics?
Yes.
So, and obviously if we drill it down to semantics, we're both going to say should, no, can.
Is it fine for?
Yeah.
That's a better way, but just should is easier to say.
Yeah. It's just, the way.
Is it fine?
It falls into our regular American English vernacular. Should Christians watch the Olympics?
Right.
So what are your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, so first of all, the reason why it's even a question is because there's nothing inherently wrong with sports. Although I heard recently 2 pastors say that there will be no sports in heaven because sports bring out the worst in people, which I'm thinking you don't understand what's going to happen to people when they're in heaven, so shut up. But anyways, that's beside the point.
I'm going to stop you right there. When people say this won't happen in heaven, I'm like, unless it's something that's like diametrically opposed to the Lord, we don't know. We can't make that statement.
I made it once because I had a guy in one of my Sunday school classes say, I think heaven's going to be nothing but a giant orgy.
Okay, see, that would be diametrically opposed.
Yeah. And I said, that's not going to happen.
That makes me uncomfortable that anybody would even think that.
Anyways, yeah, I was thinking, well, I guess I know your thoughts of heaven. Anyways, the reason we brought this up is because the Olympics were originally created as a tribute to the Olympus gods.
It was directly a worship to Zeus, specifically.
And if you go to the Olympics, you have things like the opening ceremony, which they claimed was the Feast of Dionysus. You have statues of Greek gods and things around. And if you were to read particular parts of the Bible, you might find that idol worship is tended to be looked down upon.
It's a negative thing.
And this whole worshiping of other gods is generally frowned upon by God, generally. In fact, it may be probably 2 of the greatest no-nos in the entire Bible.
It may have made the top 10 list.
It definitely made the top 10 list. So, and so should Christians participate in something that's its origin, that's its theme, they have stuff around it? Like, what do you do? What do you do if you find yourself in the middle of an opening ceremony that is a basic worship service to another god?
Right. It's Yeah, it's
I know.
hard.
So when you phrase it that way, you immediately want to say no. Like, because we shouldn't be a part of things that are worship to another god. But I don't believe that the Olympics are seen by anyone as a tribute to any god.
I don't think when you modern day Olympics, when you look at them, there is no way to say, oh yeah, they were really celebrating Zeus or Dionysus or Nike or Poseidon or whoever else you want to pull out. I mean, I don't think you could do that.
Not with the sports. I will say that the ceremonies, I'm wondering what the closing ceremony is going to look like, which is going to have happened before we air this. So we could be missing a whole thing. Let me just go ahead and say right now, as a Christian, I condemn the closing ceremony. Watch them do something like ultra Christian. Anyways, they're not going to do that.
No. Although there was one year that Cutlass performed at the Olympics.
Really?
They played their song "Sea of Faces."
Oh, wow.
I don't remember if it was the opening or closing ceremonies, but yeah.
Well, I wouldn't condemn that.
There you go.
Anyways, but I don't think that the sports in any way are seen as worship to God. I don't have a problem with Christian athletes competing in the games.
I actually like it.
I like it too. I like the Brazilian skateboardist who signed John 14:6. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me." After she wins, because she was told she can't talk and say anything about her faith, so she signed it.
Yeah, which I wonder when she signed it and they showed that what the Google search for John 14:6. How many people were Google searching that?
Yeah, right.
So
well, she signed the whole verse out. She didn't just sign John 14:6.
Oh, I thought you were saying she put the.
She did. Jesus said, "I am the way." I don't remember the whole thing now. The truth and the life. Or maybe that's probably way.
Oh, I thought you meant sign, like signature sign.
No, she used sign language.
Oh, wow.
That's actually signed for sign language.
That is?
This is.
You can get a job for the government, on those.
No, I don't know any. That's like all I know.
Yeah, but have you seen how many times?
and I can do Jesus loves me.
Have you seen how many times that they hire they want to do an emergency announcement, they hire some random person who gets paid a bunch of money and finds out later.
Oh, yeah.
They don't actually know.
They don't actually know.
I watched one where this guy literally like 4 times just went. I'm like, what? Is that a bunny?
We're done. I'm over this. I'm so over what you're saying. I don't care. I think that's probably what was happening there.
Yeah, I think we would both say, can Christians watch the Olympics? I think we both say, yeah.
Yeah. However, I would caution against being a part of certain ceremonial aspects of it.
Right.
Because, like, for instance, you might think it's really great fun to go watch the opening and closing ceremonies, but we've proven time and time again that they include elements of false worship. Mm-hmm. So
we should definitely be prepared for that.
Be prepared for that. My thing is, just don't be a part of that.
Right.
I don't think that the rest of it is really doing anything. Paul references the Olympics, where at that time, they had temples and statues and everything to these gods
all over the place,
where they're worshiping, and yet he uses them as analogies for leading people to Christ and references them with no derogatory kind of statement about them. And so I think that even back then they were recognizing that people are just running.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't necessarily come up with, usually I'll come at us with like 2 or 3, usually 3 principles. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily have principles today, but I have scriptural answers.
Okay.
So the first one is we're saying should Christians watch the Olympics?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn us to what Paul wrote.
Is it in 1 Corinthians?
There's 2 places in 1 Corinthians.
There are.
Right?
But
so this one I grabbed 10
not
23.
Chapter 8?
It's actually 6. It's in chapter 6 and chapter 10.
Oh.
It is.
It must be, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of the food offered to idols.
No, that's
in 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's all right.
Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is verse 12. In chapter 10 is verse 23. Should Christians watch the Olympics? This is what Paul wrote. All things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up.
Right.
basically, and when Paul was writing this, he was addressing Christian liberties. Do you have the liberty to do this as a Christian? And then Paul postulates, but should you?
Yeah.
So, should Christians watch the Olympics? Well, according to our Christian liberty, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. But I would, like you're saying, careful what you're participating in.
Is what you're participating in beneficial or helpful?
Right.
Right.
And that falls right in line with what we see here, 1 Corinthians 10:23 or 6:12, depending on which one.
Yeah. You want a little bit of trivia about that verse?
Lay it on me.
So where he says, all things are lawful for me, that is a direct quote where he's expounding on something he wrote to them earlier in a lost letter. In 1 Corinthians, at the beginning of it, he references that letter. And he says, in my first letter that I wrote to you, so technically our 1 Corinthians is 2 Corinthians, and our 2 Corinthians is 3 Corinthians. Somewhere out there is 1 Corinthians lost. We don't have record of it. But within that, he was trying to explain to them, because they were steeped in legalism, and he just says, all things are lawful for me. In chapter 6, he comes back and goes, hey, remember when I wrote, all things are lawful for me? Let me expound on that. All things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial.
Yeah.
So he's like, yes, okay, I understand you had Christian liberty.
I get it, guys.
But Corinth, you took it too far.
Right. And so it's the facts is I don't view this as we talked a little bit about this before the show. I don't have any problem with you watching the Olympics. Like, I don't have any problem with you going to see Jurassic Park. You're welcome for that. Watching Jurassic Park, or for me, I love 80s music. Listen to 80s music. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have the liberty as a Christian? Yes. But then I'm going to ask, is it profitable? There are certain movies I'm going to tell you, it's not profitable, don't watch it. Certain music, not profitable, don't listen to it.
Yeah. I have a very, very high standard of those things.
Yeah.
Much more so than most people I know. But,
which I think that's respectable.
But that's my personal
It's where the Lord has you.
Yeah.
It's where the Lord has you, and you've got to be where the Lord wants you to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and then the second thing is when we're having this discussion is, we talked a little bit about the history of the Olympics being a worship to Zeus. But the Olympics stopped for centuries.
Yeah. And
it started up again in, I think, the 1800s. And it was, interestingly enough, started by a French guy.
Really?
That the Olympics started back up. And his idea was it was a way to bring humanity together under one banner and one effort, right?
Right.
Which I think is great until we remember Genesis chapter 11.
Tower of Babel.
Yes. And is that our goal? Do we want to, come together like that? The Lord didn't just strike down their ziggurat. He confused languages, made it where we couldn't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah. My personal belief is that's where the continental split happened. Continental drift blew the continents apart.
Ah, you're getting sciencey on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe we should talk about that one day. But
ooh, that would be fun.
There you go.
The Tower of Babel is a very interesting story. It's takes up this much space in the Bible.
Oh, it's what is it? 9 verses.
And it's
it's 9 verses.
Yeah. Michael Heiser, who we've referenced before, says that it may be one of the most important stories to understand in all of Scripture.
Wow. I don't think I've heard him say that. I'm going to go home and...
The thing is, because there's more than 9 verses, well, we could get into it later.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that. It could be fun.
Yeah.
But
the actual story in Genesis is chapter 11, verses 1 through 9.
Yeah.
And then it moves on to other things. And there's further implications, obviously.
Right.
But, it's 9 verses. That's not very much.
No.
So, but it bears a lot of weight. This guy wants to pull us together. Should we come under one banner to approve, not approve? Why did I say approve? Accomplish one goal. Well, there is an arrogance and a rebellion in that.
It may be dependent upon what that goal is.
Right. So, so that I would just turn to that. And I would say,
yeah,
I'm not saying that necessarily that the Olympics are the Tower of Babel. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying though is, are we trying to accomplish the same thing? And that would be a problem.
Well, I don't. I think it has to do because specifically the goal that they had was to build a tower that would be beyond God.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think that there's any problem with trying to bring people together in an efforts of like have peace amongst the nations.
I mean, we are the world.
It's like one of the worst '80s songs.
Oh, I love it.
I hate that song.
It's 7 minutes of 80s
Pure
indulgence.
So I kind of feel like it might be goal dependent.
Yeah.
On what your goal is, definitely to establish yourselves as greater and higher than God. Like one of the things that is pointed out in that story, when you know the Tower of Babel is 9, like you said, it's 9 verses in Genesis, is referenced throughout the Psalms like crazy.
Right.
And then Jesus makes reference to it, even though it's a veiled reference when talking to his disciples, when he sends them out to go cast out demons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I waved my hand, a light went off.
Are you using the Force?
No, just coincidence. But, I'm using coincidence in my favor. So there's actually a lot of stuff we can learn from it. But anyways, the idea is that they weren't thinking they're going to build a tower to actually reach heaven. Like they weren't going to build this 50-mile high tower. It was that they were just going to make something so grand and spectacular that surely this would be greater than God himself.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So, of course, maybe that is what the opening ceremony of the Olympics is trying to accomplish.
Maybe.
Oh, one other thing I was going to bring up about the Olympics. So Christians got upset about that opening ceremony, right?
Yes.
Yes. So now where they got the money to do this, I do not know. But 6 Christians went and got a full-size tour bus and painted the entire outside with the front of it is a scene, the famous scene that everyone's been throwing around from the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Got that fully put on the front of this bus, the side nearest the front. And then coming out of it, words that say, "Stop attacking Christians." So 6 Christians did that. And then they parked it legally in a place kind of near the Olympic Village where people would pass in and out going to the games. Or maybe not Olympic Village, maybe the front, I don't know, wherever people were going in and out. But it was parked in a place that was made for buses because apparently people would bring buses to the Olympics. They were arrested and put in jail.
Okay.
Literally for painting "Stop Attacking Christians" on their bus.
Now prove their point that they got arrested for it.
Right. Stop attacking us. And so they attacked them. That's crazy. But this is a sign. This is like where the world is right now. In the UK, they now, if you write something like, we just openly talked about transgenderism a little bit on here. And if you in the UK post on, say, Facebook, that you don't believe that a man should be able to compete in women's sports, do you know that they have people that have done that and police come to their door and arrest them? Now, most of the time, their lawyers are getting them out, or their solicitors, because they're in the UK.
Right.
They're getting out like in 1 or 2 days. But they're doing it. Like they're sending police to their doors to arrest them because they post a true statement on Facebook. What we've said in this would get us arrested.
I don't want to be arrested.
I really don't want to be arrested.
It doesn't
but
seem like it's a good time.
I also don't want to be censored. And to be honest, I feel like there's a time coming.
Yeah, which that's an interesting, which put to our last thing here when we're looking at should.
Yeah, should.
I mean, yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with important things like seeking the Lord, putting God first, right? God should always be first. Don't choose to watch the Olympics over having your time of devotion to the Lord, right? So, and we look at the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. And I'm going to look real close because I have this memorized, but I have it memorized in King James.
That'd mess you up.
So, but Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as that's what you're doing, as long as you're seeking first the kingdom of God, I don't have any problem. And I think it's rather important for us to have downtime and to have recreation. You know, I have some friends that they can't do recreation, and they get worn out. You know, I think recreation is a form of living out the Sabbath lifestyle, which was a very important thing in the time of Christ, to live out a Sabbath lifestyle. Yes, we work hard, we're supposed to do, but have times of rest. And so, you know, if you want to rest by watching the Olympics, so long as you are honoring the Lord and doing things that God wants you to do, watch the Olympics, you know, watch somebody jump into some water, or, you know, beat up on somebody else, you know, like
honor
whatever,
God by watching some beat someone up.
you know, run around on the balance beam. I don't know, whatever it is. I think it's okay.
Yeah. One of the things I've always kind of had this by is because I'm a Christian, I don't prioritize God. I don't say, so first him, then everything else. It's that God is in all of my priorities.
Right.
So if I can watch it with God beside me and I'm worshiping him, and that's a good rule of thumb for like pretty much everything. It's where I have my thing for like movies and music and television and stuff like that. That's why you're not going to see me, you know, listening to Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, besides the fact that I just wouldn't like it. But, you know, I don't listen to that music because my worldview can't permit it.
Exactly.
Right? My worldview of like, I can't, Christ isn't there. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying about that. I understand the omnipotence of things, but and not omnipotence, omnipresence. But anyways, yeah. So, but like with the Olympics, watching the sports, it's like I can be worshiping God while doing that. I don't, because I don't particularly like the Olympics, but that's just a personal taste.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, if you
I think sometimes we make things that, oh, well, that's not Christian. It's not, it's not Christian, but it's not Christian.
Right. Now, if you're listening to songs talking about sexual immorality and doing drugs and killing people and stuff, you know, like I did have to, there was a hot minute I was listening to like NWA and Eazy-E and some of that stuff like back long time ago. It's like, no, there's just no possible way you can tell me that that's honoring, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no. So,
right. But it's, again, just like that verse says, seek first the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And his righteousness.
Right.
And all these things will be added unto you. So
that's it.
So that's the answer to the question. Like, I think it's okay. Just make sure you have your priorities in the right place.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that's what we have for you today. Thanks for being with us. As always, we're going to make sure ask that you hit the bell icon and subscribe if you have not. Make sure that you're getting notifications and all of that. If you have any questions or you want to comment, you could do that on this video or email us at thecredoreport@gmail.com.
Yep.
Like the video, share it.
Hey, go to our website, which is credoreport.com.
Credoreport.com, and
you can
get
buy
a cool t-shirt.
You can buy this t-shirt.
Right.
There. It's even got the Credo logo on the back.
There you go. And you could even pay your friends to subscribe to our podcast, and we would not be mad at you for that.
No, but I probably think you were weird.
So with that, thanks again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. I thought for sure this morning, I think the Lord was speaking to me and I wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah?
Because I looked at my tablet this morning and thought, I should plug that in, and thought, it'll be okay. We get home and it's on 9% charge. And I was like,
Sounds like most Christians in their faith when they don't plug into God.
That was so lame. That was... You got that record.
I know. I should put that like at the end, like leave 5 seconds of black and then put that.